let me ask you something. Does your body actually reflect who you are inside? You know, the guy who's hardworking, who always hits the gym, who eats relatively clean and he literally like takes care of his body. If you're watching this video, there's a huge chance that it definitely does not reflect who you are inside, and that bothers you. And I should know because I was once in your situation as well. Even just like 3, even 4 years ago, I was stuck in, the skinny fat body, the skinny fat face, the most annoying or like the most frustrating phase to be in when it comes to fitness. Because nothing really works for you. You don't know whether you should bulk, you don't know whether you should cut. And that honestly ate me up inside. Long story short, obviously I fixed it because if I didn't fix it, I would not be here teaching you something. But since you're watching this and you're a skinny fat man who's struggling with that annoying lower belly fat, I came up with a method. And I call this method the M3 method. And in this video, in the next few minutes, I will be breaking down exactly how this M3 method works so you can literally just copy it for free. Like, I want to make this content so good that you can literally just walk away, apply it, and fix the skinny fat look without you ever paying a coach or anything like that. So that's my kind of goal. All right, so what the M3 actually stands for, if you don't know by now, is like MMM, which means meals, muscle, and movement. That's it. Meals, how to eat properly to lose fat and build muscle at the same time without really like sacrificing your favorite foods. Because to be honest, to this day, I still eat chocolate. I'm in my cutting phase, so I'm basically slimming down for the summer a little after this long ass winter bulk. And I still eat like regularly. I do it, I don't know, chocolate or chip, whatever basically, if it fits my macros. And I will basically show you how this whole method works in just a minute. Then muscle. As a skinny fat man, you need to build muscle because unless you fix or unless you build muscle, you can lose all the fat you want. You will still be skinny fat. And I will explain why is that in just a minute as well. And last but not least, movement, how to move properly, how to structure your day, and basically how to use movement through your leverage so that you can lose fat and build muscle at the same time without really spending hours at the gym or like running. And I will also explain why running might be harming you, which probably you're doing right now. So yeah, let's just get into the first M, which is muscle. All right, so muscle. A lot of skinny fat guys or skinny fat men do the mistake and assume that because the whole phase or the whole physique thingy is called skinny fat, they just simply assume that fat is their main problem. But the main thing is, sure, like fat is somewhat of a problem, but your main problem is not having enough muscle. That's why the skinny is more important than the fat, right? Because without muscle, you can lose all the fat you want. You will just get basically skinnier and you will just have this scrawny look. And I don't think that's what you want. Because if you're watching this video, there's a huge chance you don't want to be like bodybuilder either. You're somewhat aiming for, how to call it, I don't know, let's say a Spider-Man physique, like Peter Parker in Spider-Man 1. That's the kind of physique you're aiming for, like lean, athletic, mobile, like you actually want to move around, be like a human. You don't want to be this big bodybuilder who literally cannot fit through the door. So if that's your goal, honestly, just go off and like exit this video because I cannot help you. But honestly, if your goal is to just build a lean athletic physique, go on, watch on, because this will help you a lot. But enough talking, let's just get back into the muscle. So as I said, you can lose all the fat you want, but unless you have any muscle, you just will be a scrawnier, more deflated, more like smaller version of skinny fat. And again, I don't think that's what you want. So let me just break down this whole process on how you can build more muscle without gaining any fat. So yeah, let's just get into it. All right, so step number 1 within the muscle category of this method, you want to train 3 to 4 times per week, not 6 or 7 days. I know you probably think that yes, more is better, but that's not the case, especially as a skinny fat man. But it's not the best case for like anybody. Like training 7 days a week is complete BS. Then that's basically a simple step number 1. I just want you to like focus on 3 to 4 quality sessions. Step number 2, you want to focus mainly on compound lift. So compound lift is basically a lift that uses multiple parts of your body weight. So for example, squat or bench or pull-ups or like weighted body weight dips, Those are the kind of exercises that will give you the biggest ROI, which is like return on investment of your time. Then there's the other part, like isolation moves and accessory stuff. That has its place in your training program as well, but I want you to mainly focus on compound lifts, because we also, since you're probably busy, we don't want to be spending like 2 hours at the gym, right? And step number 3, you want to use progressive overload. Because one of the biggest mistakes I see skinny fat men make in the gym, and even I was making it, is like I was guilty of this just a few years ago. They simply show up to the gym and they just go through their movements. They literally lift the same weights for like months on end, and they never really focus on progressing. They have no progressing structure in place. Like they have no structure, no plan, and that's why they're stuck. And that's why you're stuck, and that's why I was stuck. Because I was known as the gym guy because I was always at the gym, but my body simply did not reflect any of that. Like one of the biggest reasons for this is the fact that I had no system for progression in place. And one of the best progression systems you can use is called the double progression method. And let me just explain how it works. So basically, you want to pick a weight. So we'll basically be in a 4 to 6 rep range, and we will be doing 3 sets for each exercise. Only 3 sets, right? And so you want to pick a weight that you can lift for at least 4 times. So 4 reps and 3 sets. That's your start. Like you don't want to be too light. You don't want to be too heavy. You want something in between, something that you can lift at least 4 times with 3 sets. And so you will work with this weight. Let's say you bench with 10 pounds, and I don't know, like 10 pounds is super funny. It's like embarrassing, honestly, but just for math and like simplicity's sakes, let's say you are benching for 10 pounds for, let's say, 4 to 6 reps. And you basically want to work with that weight, with those 10 pounds, until you can hit 6 reps on all 3 sets. And then when you hit 6 reps on all 3 sets, you basically want to move up by 5 pounds. So basically, you will go from 10 to 15. And it's as simple as that. This is literally your system for progression, and you want to be using this every single week, and is literally the best system. So now, having step number 3, which was progressive overload, out of the way, I want to give you a bonus step. And the bonus step is called heavy. I'm not sponsored or anything. This probably sounded like an ad, but I want you to download, or if not download, not tracking app, but if you want to download a lift tracking app, download the app called Heavy. Here's a picture. And basically, if you don't want to have an app, don't have an app, but at least keep a track of how much you're lifting. Because without tracking, without this data, and honestly, fitness is a data game, and I'm a really huge like fitness data guy, I really love that. Because like if you follow the right numbers, you will achieve those results. And you cannot achieve those results or follow the right numbers unless you're first tracking them. So I actually want to track your lifts, like how much you're lifting every single day, and then improve upon that. All right, that was the first M out of 3, which was basically muscle. You learned how to build muscle without really like gaining unnecessary fat, and how to really like maximize muscle growth. And the other M is called meals. And so with meals, this is really important, because if you don't have this part of the M equation, or the M3 equation correct, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You will simply not fix the skinny fat living. And that's not me being harsh, right? Kind of like harsh, but like tough love, like I really want to help you. But like you can have all the right training and everything, but unless you really like have solid M2, which is like meals part of this equation, you simply won't get as good of a result. And so again, at the start of the video, I kind of like qualified you, and since you're watching this, I assume that you are someone who eats clean. You like relatively clean, getting your protein in, etc., etc. And honestly, I think that eating clean is precisely the reason you're skinny fat. And let me just explain honestly, because if you're just eating clean and again, this is about tracking, this is about data, this is about numbers, following the right numbers. But if you're not tracking your meals, and you don't need to be like obsessive with it, like track every single like milligram and stuff, but you still need to have an idea of how many calories you're eating throughout the day, how many protein you're eating. And I think like carbs, of course, fats are important, like fats for hormones and carbs for like performance and training, etc. But if you just focus on calories and protein, if you only track those two, you'll be all right. Those are the 2 main things that you need to focus on as a skinny fat man. Because I will also like in a second break down what kind of a deficit or what kind of like structure you need to set to lose fat. But fuck it, like let's just mention it out. So basically you will later down, so that it makes sense for you, you will later down be hopping on a 300 calorie deficit. But in order to lose fat and build muscle at the same time, you, while being in a 300 calorie deficit, needs to also hit your protein. And that is generally, like the general rule is like 1 gram of protein per pound of your body weight. That's like a non-negotiable for you. And as I said, with the training, you need to be focusing on progressive overload. And kind of like these three work in tandem. So without progressive overload, you cannot fix skinny fat. Without having like the right deficit, you cannot fix skinny fat because you will maybe just build muscle, but you also gain a lot of fat. And without hitting your protein, you won't even build muscle. So these three are like non-negotiables, and you need to hit these every single day and focus on these. So I would definitely recommend you get an app, I don't know, like MyFitnessPal or Macro Factor, I think it's called, which is like, I believe it's Jeff Niffer's app. It's pretty good. I tried it, but it's not free. So if you were looking for something free of a tracker, just get MyFitnessPal and literally just track your food, weigh your food, and you don't need to be obsessive with it, because once you find those couple of meals that you actually know that hit your macros on a day-to-day basis and hit your protein on a day-to-day basis, you can literally just stop tracking, just weigh your food and eat those few meals on repeat. Obviously, you still need to have some idea of how much you're eating because, again, as I said, data tracking, you gotta have these right numbers in order to fix the skinny fat belly and build more muscle. And you simply cannot do that without the right data, without the right numbers, right? And also, a lot of people make the mistake of like overly restricting themselves, which just leads to them binging like crazy, honestly. Which is why with my method, with this like M3 method, I really allow everybody, and even myself, to have whatever the fuck they want. Like you don't need to be 100% clean. I use somewhat, basically it's called, you probably heard of it, the 80-20 method, which is kind of like 80% whole foods, you know, healthy and everything, but the 20% like have whatever you want. Like if it fits your macros and if you already hit your protein for the day, let's say let's say your deficit is at around 2,300 and you have already hit your protein goal at, let's say 1,800 or 1,900. You still have, let's say 600 to 500 calories, 500 to 400 calories that you can spend on junk shit. You will still lose fat. Because what matters is not the food quality, although even that helps, like it's a lot better, like real whole foods fill you up more. But basically what matters is that you are in a deficit and you don't want to be like overly restricting yourself. So just have whatever the fuck you want if it hits your macros, right? So that was M2. So we already have muscle, we already have meals, and let's just move on to M number 3, which is a movement. You don't want to do running, you don't want to do those high intensity interval classes, you don't want to be those like round class. You don't want to, like, no. That just burns you muscle that you don't really have, and also helps you basically hold on to body fat, because a huge amount of cardio, let's say HIIT classes or running, kind of elevates your cortisol, the stress hormone, and your body kind of like switches into fight or flight mode. And then your body feels like it's in survival. It holds onto body fat for energy and burns, it holds onto body fat for emergency fuel later down the line and burns muscle for energy instead. Hope that made sense. So we totally want to ditch those. First of all, it does not really help at all. Like it honestly sabotages your progress. And second of all, it honestly is not that sustainable if you're not a runner. Like if you're a runner, by all means do that, but know that your progress or your results won't be that efficient as if you were only doing the one thing that I will just mention. And the one thing I want to mention is walking 7 to 10k steps daily. And I know that you have probably heard this like millions of times, hit 10k steps daily. I mean, what I believe is just simply hitting 7 to 10k steps daily. You don't need to be crazy with it, but still make sure that even outside of the gym, you are moving around. If you're working from home, you can get a standing desk and a little like walking pad. If you actually work at an office or something like that, I mean, if you work an active job, then fuck it. Like, don't even worry about hitting 10k steps daily outside of work, you know, like you probably already are hitting those steps. But if you work at an office, you cannot really afford to have a standing desk and a walkie pack, because like people would literally think you were a retard. But you can just walk around the office, walk to the toilet, you know, like drink a lot of water, then walk around the office. and get those steps in. Go walk during your lunch break, like park further away from the office, or like take the stairs instead of the elevator. Like, these are simple tactics that will help you get your steps in, increase your metabolism, which is like basically like the amount of calories your body burns throughout the day from just like non-exercise activities, and you're good. Like, this is all, and I mean all you need to fix a skinny fat look. No running, no hit, just simple act of walking, which is honestly the most underrated tool for fat loss on the whole planet. And this, my man, was honestly the whole M3 protocol that I wanted to show you. Literally, this is everything that you need to do to fix your skinny fat belly, build muscle at the same time, and build that, like a lean Spider-Man 1 physique where you're just super confident to take your shirt off, where you're just not embarrassed anymore, anything like that. You just feel confident in your own skin. And that's what matters, And so to give you a little recap of all 3 M's, so let's just start with M number 1, which was muscle. You actually want to be focusing on muscle growth more than obsessing about fat loss. So to build muscle, you actually want to be showing up at the gym 3 to 4 times per week with actual training where you use progressive overload and the double progression method that I literally explained and broke down step by step at the start of this whole method. And number 2, that is meals. You don't want to be overly restricting yourself. You don't want to be cutting your calories too low or like bulking or anything like that. You just want to be in a small calorie deficit of, let's say, 300 calories and be hitting 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, because this plus that training with the double progression method that I mentioned is literally what allows you to, build muscle and lose fat at the same time, and so that you can achieve that lean athletic physique you're after. And third of all, movement. Instead of doing crazy head cardios or like running or like round classes or spin classes, whatever they're called, I don't know, or like being dying out there on a Stairmaster, you don't need that. All you need is hitting 7 to 10K steps daily. And you can achieve it without obsessing over going for a walk every 30 minutes. Just take the stairs, walk on a meeting. If you work from home, get a standing desk and a walking pad. If you're in office, just walk. As I said, take the stairs, park further away. I don't know, take this, I already said that, whatever. But basically, all these 3 M's are literally what make the M3 method. And this is literally all you need as a skinny fat man. Now, you might be like, all right, Thomas, like, I completely understand, like, this all makes sense, but I still maybe need some help and everything. Like, I would need some more information. And that's exactly why if you type this little thing in @TomHenno, you will literally be transformed on Instagram, obviously. You'll be transferred to my Instagram account, or you can even access it in the description of this video. I linked my Instagram account out there, and make sure to drop me a follow, because I literally post daily tactical advice for skinny fat men so that you can fix the skinny fat belly and lose fat. Message me, I can help you, whatever. I'm out there, I'm here to help. So yeah, take care, hope this all helped, and peace out.